live.
Yay!
Oof.
Live, but sweltering.
Yes, sweltering. Yes.
Actually, this is about average Japanese summer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah, I
not
know.
unusual at all.
Yeah, I know UK is getting hit hard with like heat waves and stuff in other places, and here I'm just kind of like, okay, it's hot, it's disgusting, it's sweaty. This is typical Osaka summer.
Yeah, definitely.
And partner was saying she can't wait until end of August, September before it gets cool, and I'm like, how long have you lived here? It does not get cool.
Oh yeah,
We'll be like well into early October before it gets. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, October is always a roll of the dice. Sometimes it's a little chilly at night, but that's about it. It's still pretty.
Yep, September is still pretty warm. Like, I think that you just like, fuck daylight savings time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just
we're the only America's the only country that does it, right? Just like slide everything a month forward, and then stuff would line up a bit better, right?
Right. Yes, we need to change those seasons. Yeah,
imagine what a clusterfuck that would be if the whole world just like agreed. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, move that Labor Day.
And you're gonna move everything. Just like, let's just all collectively agree. It is now August 22nd.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Yes,
like,
right,
that's how it works, and just kick it off from there. Lose a whole month.
Yeah, that would be. People would be really late for work then.
Yeah, they would. Actually, it'd be kind of awesome if we did that every year. All of a sudden, it'd be like, no, it's June 22nd again.
Right.
We got a whole month do-over. Right?
Yes, you get another paycheck. Right? Another paycheck for June. Oh man.
Anyway.
Well, good. So, what have you been working on? Anything?
Let's see. More turnip stuff.
Oh, cool.
I think that's about it.
Nice.
I had to take a day off earlier this week to take my daughter to speech therapy, which is fine. But early in the morning, the first half, I assembled one complete regiment.
Oh, nice.
Turnip, which is only 21 figures.
Oh, okay. Well,
I intentionally went
yeah.
small because the thing about, okay, I'm talking about turnip. Like you just build, you select a number of units. And each unit type has a different number of models in it, right? Like one of the bigger one has 12 models in it. So if you wanted to, you could have 48 models in this regiment because of the 4 units to be pretty samey. I intentionally for this one went the smaller unit size. So there's 1 unit of 6 and then 3 units of 4 and then the 3 leaders. So like that's how you balance it. It's not points. It's just we're going to play X number of units.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's one done, and unfortunately with the other one I went big.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have like 36 American War of Independence British troops heads to lop off. And
Nice.
Yeah, anyway. So yeah, that's all I've been doing on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How about you?
I'm going to be running Blade Runner tomorrow online.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The last hurrah before all that work you did on the virtual tabletop disappears. Yeah.
Right. So we're going to enjoy Astral all we can. Yeah. So yeah. It's
One last hurrah.
It's all set up. Yeah, I found out the deadline is actually the end of August. So last day of August. So we still have, I've got a few more weeks. I thought I literally had 2 weeks, but I've got the whole month of August. So we should be able to get through the first little case file that they gave us.
Cool.
And so, yeah, Matt's going to be one of the players. So, hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey. Okay.
And you don't need to bring your wrench. We're good.
You too could play with Jeremy if you I guess have a computer.
Right, and a Patreon and our patron.
I was wondering. Yeah, there you go. Hey, incentive.
I am paid to play, right?
Yeah. I honestly, why not? Right?
Yeah, right.
People should charge what they're worth for their skills. And if you run a good game,
there we go. Yeah. Well, that's yet to be determined. I guess Matt's taking a big risk here. Hey, Abyss, how's it going?
If he suddenly stops being a patron, we'll know why.
Yeah, we're delete. Oh no, that was a terrible. Yeah, I can't kill any characters. I'm risking. Hey, Kyle, how's it going? So I gave everybody a little preview. So something you weren't privy to. So it'll be coming up.
Ooh.
All right.
I'm getting a sense of FOMO.
Yes. All right. So you ready?
Yep. All set.
All right. So let's do this. Okay. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And before we get started, as most of you know, the Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves trailer dropped, right?
This. The way you started this, I'm like, this is going to be some dark shit, and I was right.
So Chris and I wanted to experience it together. So what I did is
you're turning into a liar. I said I was not going to watch this.
I got one of those wooden antique wheelchairs, right? And I duct taped Chris to it, right? And then I rolled it in front of a projector. So I set up a projector.
Is it like the Clockwork Orange where like, you force
and
my eyes open?
some of the tape I used for your eyes. And so I wanted to give you context. So I screened all of the trailers for all the movies, right?
Oh my God. Yep.
So we started with Dungeons and Dragons 2000, right? And so this is, D&D in hobby form, right? A refuge for nerds. Do you see? And then we moved on to Wrath of the Dragon God from 2005.
It was that long ago. Huh?
D&D changing. A fandom spreading over the internet. Do you see? Then Dungeons and Dragons 3, The Book of Vile Darkness
Which
from
is actually okay.
2012, direct to DVD.
It was that long. Wow.
D&D Reborn, a lifestyle brand. Do you see?
Okay.
An identity. And then finally, Honor Among Thieves. So what I did for that is I removed my shirt, right? Turned around, and Chris saw I have the entire first edition monster manual tattooed to my back, right? And if I flex a certain way, the beholder winks at you there. And so
That's terrifying.
at the end of the trailer, I lean into Chris and I say, "Do you want to know what I am?" And at the time, Chris said, "More than anything."
Nope.
And I told Chris, "I am Dungeons and Dragons, and you call me insane. You are privy to a great becoming, but you recognize nothing. You are an ant in the afterbirth. It is your nature to do one thing correctly. Before me, you rightly tremble. But fear is not what you owe me. You owe me awe." And then I lit Chris on fire and I pushed the wheelchair down the street. So that was our experience of the trailer. So and
Honestly, preferable to actually watching it.
I couldn't resist. Yeah, that was a real. And this week on the weekly, KillSampleProcess, Pathfinder Revolution, Dune: War for Arrakis, and Mazes and Monsters HD. Ouch.
Yeah, something that didn't need an HD. Anyway,
Yes, right. Started. So the first thing, and this is probably the best thing, and I apologize. There's a lot of Kickstarters this week, but it's also kind of a trend, something I wanted to kind of pay attention to. So KillSampleProcess is the standalone tabletop miniatures game using from the creator of Forbidden Psalm and Last War, based in the cyborg universe. Right. So they've got the new kind of the cyberpunk version of Mjorkborg coming out called Cyborg. And this is going to be similar to Forbidden Psalm, a compatible miniatures 28 millimeter skirmish miniatures game, model agnostic, that you can play and actually move the characters between both systems.
No, I saw that mentioned. I completely blanked on the name. That's why I was like, what the hell is this? And like, oh, right, the Cyborg miniatures compatible game. Right.
Yes. Yeah, so it looks good. I'm excited to see this coming out. So this is currently on Kickstarter. So small scale, a crew of 5 miniatures per player. And the difference, and it kind of makes sense with the setting, AI-controlled hostels.
Okay.
So you can either play as enemies, cooperatively, or even solo because it's AI-controlled, everything else that's on the board. And I guess even Frostgrave does that. They kind of have a very simple AI that runs any monsters or anything that are
I think
spawned.
Stargrave leans a little bit, not leans into it, because you can still play co-op, or what's the word I'm looking for? My brain just turned off. Competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there seem to be more rules for kind of AI enemies in Stargrave than there were in Frostgrave. So, like, they existed in Frostgrave, and there was this chart you kind of went down, and some fancy characters like the Lich King or a few other ones had a different kind of thing that you went down. But I think they kind of developed that more in Stargrave, and I think it's kind of cool, right? I like how it's just in general, the AI stuff is like, okay, we're kind of recognizing that not everybody is in a position to play with other people or even wants to. So here's tools to play by yourself.
Right. Nice. Yeah. I like that, and I like that they're doing that. And I even when we were doing the Arcane Brawl 28, that had some nice kind of the board itself had some AI, AI terrain.
Lost
that
in the
was
fucking game, right? Well, it's my own fault for hiding behind that piece of shifting terrain. The 1 in 6 chance it's going to shift that way. So of course it does, and splattered my Technomancer. Yeah, nice. I haven't looked at the Kickstarter for the Cyborg game, but I haven't looked at Cyborg either. Okay, with Mjorkborg, it's that grimdark, we're all a bunch of assholes, let's see what we do at the end of the world kind of thing, and I can see that translating to the tabletop. One thing I'm wondering about Cyborg is, how is it cyberpunk? Is it the same thing, just techno filth? Or are we going to do the, you can't be a cop, you can't work for the corp, we're going to be kind of put the punk back in cyberpunk. What does that look like in Cyborg? And how would that translate to tabletop for the skirmish game? Right. Is it just going to be, and this is not disparaging, is it just going to be like, okay, we're the punks and bad guys are the cops and kind of corporate thing? Are we doing like that? Or are we going to have like missions where we kind of end up sticking it to the corp? Or are we just going to be kind of cyberpunk in name only and fight each other?
Right. Yeah, I wonder, because similar to, like, they use a wizard, an evil wizard for the kind of campaign of Forbidden Psalm. So I wonder if they're going to do that same kind of thing, like an evil corp, like you're all directly opposed to a corp, and they're like throwing stormtroopers at you or whatever. I'm curious. I backed Cyborg, but I didn't. I don't think they've released a preview or anything yet. Yeah, but I'm curious too how things are going to run. They did talk about, in this version, they're going to add new weapons that aren't in the ttrpg. And the thing that the miniatures game does that's really fun when you're making characters is you roll feats and flaws on the character. So if you have a big, beefy, armored character and you roll a flaw that basically says, oh, he can't wear armor or whatever, you have these like goofy, self-defeating characters that are pretty fun to
I like how, again, haven't played it. I like the idea, and again, similar kind of like we talked in Frostgrave and Stargrave, the balance is kind of baked into the randomness, right? Where like you do not get to pick and choose what is in your crew or whatever. You're just, we're going to roll on these random tables, and it's fair and balanced because everybody's rolling on the same tables, and we just kind of get what we get.
Right, and then it's and then the fun of like working with a broken crew is pretty awesome.
Or are we going to pull like old D&D days where we like show up like, my crew is awesome because I rolled all 8 teams in a row and my mom saw me, right?
Right, yeah. So this campaign, this Kickstarter campaign, will also give you access if you want to add the Forbidden Psalm books to it. And so this is all fulfilled. They're all being done by Exalted Funeral, like the previous books. And it should be fun. So that's KillSampleProcess. And I don't have a date that it's running until, but I think you've still got a few more weeks.
Right. Cool.
On that, and it's going to be probably the same format.
No, I like this format, small format of book.
Yeah, definitely good for miniatures, so you don't have to open a big something big on the table. So very, very useful. So all of that is available. So that was the highlight. Of this week.
It's all downhill from here.
It does go downhill from here, and we've got to use one of our interstitials for this next bit.
Not the best.
Of course.
Not the best.
Not the best. So
Again,
we're discussing
the thing we're talking about.
Yes.
Not that interstitial. That interstitial is awesome.
Yes, that interstitial is the best. But so our topic is things that essentially aren't the world's greatest role-playing game. So they can't be the best because only one can be the best. So Pathfinder Revolution. So another Kickstarter is an interesting collaboration between Steve Jackson Games and Pathfinder. So I don't think I've ever heard that combination before. Did they do a Munchkin Pathfinder? They probably did a Pathfinder Munchkin. Yeah, they've done a Munchkin everything.
Tangent. Munchkin is the monopoly of the ttrpg board game world, right? I look at it and go, anyway, sorry.
Yes. So so they announced that they are working on a Pathfinder Revolution, and Revolution is a game. It's a new edition of the Revolution game that I think was previously published by Steve Jackson with a more kind of generic, their own flavor to it. Wow. So this is going to be skinned as, and I guess they also did expansions, Revolution, Anarchy, and things like that back in 2009. So it's a political deduction game.
Right. Okay.
And so the setting is the city of Korvosa, the gateway to the fabled Varisia. For all of those people that know their Glorant or their, what's the Pathfinder world? The Pathfinder world, the lore of Pathfinder. So this is basically a deduction game. So you're secretly bidding against opponents and people in important guilds, gaining influence, gold, power, and blackmail. So you're trying to sway the guildmaster or blackmail the Hell Knight, which doesn't sound like a good choice.
Nope, doesn't.
And to kind of take control of the city. So bluff or outguess your opponents and build a coalition in the city. So kind of taking one of the aspects of kind of the political kind of, underground aspects of the setting and applying it to the Revolution board game. Right. So a quote from the CEO, Phil Reed of Steve Jackson Games: "Revolution is an outlier in our catalog, the game closest to the Euro wave titles of the mid-2000s that we have ever released. With Pathfinder Revolution, we finally managed to bring the game back in a new edition to incorporate the best mechanics and concepts from the earlier editions of the game and its expansions." So I guess they're adding things that they kind of came up with at a later date. Right. So a pretty simple pledge level. Just there's a deluxe version and then a retail version, and then I'm sure when they go to retail. Only thing that is too bad about it, and Steve Jackson Games learned their lesson with Ogre and things. Yeah. So this only ships to the U.S. Right. So you'd have to, if you're outside the U.S., get a forwarding, or just wait for it to go to their retail, because their web store does ship internationally. Okay. Brutal shipping, and sometimes they do supply Amazon. So right. Amazon UK or Amazon where you are may also stock Steve Jackson Games, and the shipping's a little more reasonable because it might be residing at a closer warehouse. Right. So this game was designed by Phil Dewberry and edited by Steve Jackson. So yeah, it's a funny collaboration. Yeah, I saw that out there and I was like, oh, that's odd. I've never seen that before. But I'm sure they probably shook hands at a few conventions over Pathfinder Munchkin.
Probably. And you know what? Why not? I mean,
yes.
Pathfinder's popular. It's got a okay. I don't follow it. I don't know who the Iconics are, but it's got a recognizable IP that's
definitely
distinct from the world's most lucrative role-playing game. So lucrative. Why not? That was from Dicebreaker, right? The Dicebreaker article of the new D&D movie, and said, hey, it's the world's most lucrative. And I like that. That's what I'm sticking with.
They're going to have to change the boxes then, because greatest, I think, should be just most profitable.
Well, it's the greatest of the fans. Yeah. Speaking of boxes, I'm waiting for the Dungeons and Dragons Honor of Thieves box set to come out. The game, based on the movie. Based on the game. Yes, how incestuous can we get? Anyway.
Yeah. It'll be the snake eating itself. Yeah. Right. That's right. You can play as Chris Pine playing Chris Pine's character in the. It'll be a little confusing at one point. Yeah. And anyhow, kind of following a similar trend, and still on Kickstarter, CMON has enlisted Francesco Nipatello, and Marco Maggi, the two designers of War of the Ring, to produce Dune, War of Arrakis. So an asymmetrical war game, based on Frank Herbert's novel. So they're going to, it's asymmetrical, and there's basically there's two sides. There's Atreides and Harkonnen. Okay. Yep. And each have kind of different abilities. Action dice and event cards kind of give the flavor of the houses. And you're just battling for Arrakis. And so these, this feels like a similar trend. It's like, this was successful. This is something we have. Can we just do another version of it? And so hopefully it's not a reskin. Hopefully it's a total mechanical redesign, and it doesn't play too similar to a War of the Ring, and isn't just like a Dune coat of paint over another game. But it seems like the way that they're balancing it, or just with the two houses, may work. So they're drawing their inspiration directly from the novel. So this is all new artwork and all new miniatures. It's of course a miniatures game because it's CMON, and so it's not referencing. There's no Timothée Chalamet or anything looking in this game. So they're doing their own original version. And a quote from Nepatello: "Dune, War of Arrakis has allowed Marco and me once again to do what we love most: look at a story in depth and find the best way to capture its spirit and put it into a game. We've been able to do it at a grand scale, befitting the source material, working with the best developers, artists, and producers in the market. We aim to provide an epic experience while still putting a spotlight on the many individual characters found in the Dune universe.
And their focus on their combat abilities.
Yeah, right. Right.
I guess. And sorry, the game might be amazing, right? But like that is always my thought with any kind of tabletop battle or war game. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter what these characters do in the fiction or outside. We are focusing on probably physical combat. So
right. It would be really cool, and I wonder, since they're directly referencing the novel, the really cool thing that the movies don't ever really touch on is the strategic battle between the Mentat that both houses use. So they're basically, there is this war of tactics going on and trying to outguess each other by human computers that, that's going on. So if that was an actual mechanic, if you had like, some Mentat points or something that were helping you get some sort of advantage, in certain strategies, that would be so fun to have in multiple levels, and which is something that they might do if they're doing kind of a Euro style game.
More than just like die re-rolls or things like that. Right. Like it would be cool if there were like Mentat points to, like, okay, army selection is hidden, unless you spend these points to kind of like learn what a subset of your opponent is fielding, right, or where they're going to deploy their stuff or things like that. Right.
Oh yeah. There could be some. Yeah, there could be some good stuff, and these guys, have the ability to bring out some interesting mechanics inspired by the game. So we'll see. The only thing that, it's CMON, and I don't like how they run Kickstarters, because they're like, hey, it's $100 for everything. Oh, and plus like $450 of add-ons if you want the complete experience. They always do that kind of bait and switch nonsense where we just have a few simple pledge levels, and then you end up with this giant bill, and then insult to injury is the shipping. It's well, the all-in pledge does cost $175 to ship, so I hope you can eat that.
You know what I'm waiting for? Okay, I heard a new Dune game. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's going to be Atreides and Harkonnen. You know what I want to see? I want to see someone take the chance to do Dune battle game set in the Chapter House Dune, the last book, where it's like honored matres versus the Bene Gesserit, and everyone is going to sex fight. Because if you've never gotten to the end of the Dune series, that's what it turns out to be, right? Yeah. Yes. When you said it's CMON, I'm like, who would pass that up? Right? Like. Yeah. Anyway,
that's true. Yeah, that's something we haven't seen. And I guess if they keep milking this property, as the movies keep coming out and everything, we could get to that point.
I've said it before. We are never going to get to that last book as a movie and Dune. Like if we ever do the Dune movies, it's going to end. I think it's going to end with God Emperor of Dune. Maybe even Children of Dune, right? Because it's again, Dune tangent. It's the first 3 books are Paul and kind of like direct descendants, and most of the characters are static for the first 3 books. Not static's the wrong word, but present, right? Just we add a few more. The 4th book, God Emperor of Dune, is the first time we jump like thousands of years in the future, and shit gets weird. Then we jump thousands of years into the future more, and shit gets weirder with book 5, right? But like book 5 is starting to get kind of like, what were Frank Herbert's views on women, right? Where we kind of don't have as much of that in book 4. So I think we're never going to get the honored matres subjecting the universe with sex.
Right. I wonder if, they might not have the license for it. It's all depending on license, but I wonder if an RPG, like, because there's a Modiphius 2D20, I wonder if they would ever get to that.
Well, based on how long Modiphius seems to be milking the Arrakis thing, right?
Yeah. We might not get rid of Arrakis. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So the interesting thing about this is being licensed under a sub-license from Gale Force 9. And so Gale Force 9 was the one that they did the re-release of the original Dune board game that everyone holds in high regard and loves. And so since that, it's like, okay, we've got the Dune board game, and they did expansions as well. But now there's like maybe half a dozen Dune themed board games off of that license. So they've been
But it's all from the same, if it's all kind of, okay, we got the Dune license, and then we are going to sub-license that. I guess why not?
Yeah.
Maybe that's better than having a whole bunch of disparate groups doing
Yeah,
it.
that's true. And it looks like a little bit of a stumble because, as we know, the first movie got delayed because of the pandemic. So the release, we missed our year of Dune in 2020, and things kind of stumbled, and the releases came kind of sporadically. So a lot of them do have the license to do likenesses of the movie actors. And so it's kind of it's all over the place.
Well, it's on Netflix now.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's very accessible. So Legendary Entertainment and Herbert Properties LLC with Gale Force 9, like they brokered this deal with Genuine Entertainment. And the individual at Genuine Entertainment, which I'm getting a little suspicious of this guy, is Joe LaFavi. And Joe LaFavi put together this deal. So he suspiciously was also the lead setting writer for the Blade Runner RPG by Free League.
Oh.
And as we know, that like weirdly went to Kickstarter for whatever reason. And all I'm going to say is congrats to him. He's got his hands on a lot of great big properties and stuff. But as far as the writing in the Blade Runner ttrpg core book, Hampton Fancher, he is not.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not blown away by the level of the writing. And because there's a lot of non-native English speakers probably looking at it, they're probably like, yeah, that's good enough. It's got an odd tone and just yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I've been going through, been doing a read through of it, and so this guy being involved in so many of these properties, I'm like, let's just settle down there, Genuine Entertainment. But anyhow, congrats. I'm sure that's a dream fulfilled, to get your hand into every one of your favorite franchises. But anyhow, moving on. And another one of our favorite franchises, Mazes and Monsters. Oh, yeah. So the 1982.
I was going to say it wasn't 92.
1982 TV movie. This wasn't even like a theatrical. This is a TV movie inspired. Well, of course, featuring a 20-something-year-old Tom Hanks. His first movie role.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he had just done TV and commercials and stuff before then.
Well, okay, if it's a TV movie, can you really call it a movie role?
Yeah, his first TV movie role.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, and leading role too. I think he was credited as a leading. And so it's being released for the first time in HD, as if we needed that. And because this is the 40th anniversary, so of course 82 to 2022. And so this is the movie based on the Rona Jaffe novel of the same name, Mazes and Monsters, which in turn was inspired by the nonfiction, I guess, like true crime, I guess you consider it, book The Dungeon Master by William Deere that
when did that come out?
Recounts probably late 70s because the event, or maybe early 80s, because the events happened in 79. Well, those nonfiction, they jump on stuff really fast. So maybe it's like a 1980 novel. So that the Dungeon Master recounts the search for missing James Dallas Egbert III, who I think a university student that disappeared in like the heating tunnels underneath the school or someplace.
I forget what school it is, but was.
And of course, this caught, the press ran with this, and it must have been his connection to Dungeons and Dragons, because this is kind of building up to the height of the Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
So D&D was to blame. And
it's obvious,
yeah. And so the movie, if anyone that's seen the movie, it's
I've actually watched it. I forget why, but like I think it was. I think I like rented the VHS because I assumed it was kind of like D&D. Like I'm watching it, and I was like, it kind of sucks. It's kind of cheesy.
Right.
What am I watching? Yeah.
But the 26-year-old, Tom Hanks plays Robbie Wheeling, whose obsession with mazes and monsters, obviously, Dungeons and Dragons, causes him to not be able to distinguish between reality and fantasy, leading to the climactic scene where he thinks he can fly and he's going to jump into
something.
Yeah, he's going to jump into the water and is talked down. Yeah, it's really brutal. The thing that I did admire, though, is they have like these 72 millimeter like miniatures. Each of their characters is represented by like a miniature bronze statue that they place on the table. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. But
I remember watching this and thinking like, this is not how people play D&D.
Right.
Like,
yeah, and so it's funny because we had probably pretty close to that time the example of a more realistic example in E.T. So the older brothers playing D&D. So like right about that time, you're getting kind of these like mixed messages. So what is this game and how do you play it? And how much does one of those bronze miniatures cost? Those statuettes that they placed on the table. But the odd thing about this release, and it's not going to make me run out and get it anytime soon, is there's an audio commentary, and usually, film scholars or the actors, directors involved. No, this is just a bunch of internet hoo-ha ttrpg people. So they're doing a commentary by Seth Skorsky. Yeah, he's got a pretty popular. I think he's won Best Podcast many times in a row. Scott Dower, Joe Trier, Aegon Favle, and Cthulhu and Friends GM Veronica Escamilla Brady. And I don't recognize any of those names, but I'm sure they're pretty like in actual play worlds and all that stuff. But I mean, that many people on a commentary talking over each other, and
we're assuming it's all one track, right? Maybe they do different parts, right?
That's true.
I hope they're not all talking over each other.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure, because the story very quickly gets away from the game and everything. It just goes on the little drama of these university students' lives and stuff. So I don't know what they're going to be talking about exactly, but that was an odd choice. But they do have an exclusive, and Dicebreakers revealed this exclusively on their website. The limited edition slipcase art done by Paul Shipper, the same artist that did the Last Jedi movie poster, Doctor Strange, and all that. Limited to 1,000 copies. You can get a slipcase with I think it's like a bunch of dice and a pool of blood or something. It's gorgeous. So take a look at that on the Dicebreaker website, and get your pre-order in for that first 1,000.
Do we have an affiliate link or something?
No,
is that why you're plugging this so
true.
hard?
No, but I'm just those are just the details. Dicebreaker was plugging it hard, so I'm handing it over to them. So so the 40th anniversary Blu-ray of Mazes and Monsters will be released September 19th. And why? We need an interstitial, and why? That's funny. So they're really leaning into, this is a part of tabletop history, and we've got all these popular YouTubers or podcasters that are going to talk about it, but it had minimal effect. I mean, there's like nothing to really talk about with this movie.
Apart from young Tom Hanks.
So it's like, hey, Bosom Buddies, remember that? Hey, Splash, remember that? Like, is that all they're going to do?
Probably.
Yeah, because as far as like the game, there's a very short session of them playing the game, maybe once or twice, and playing the game, and so that's it. So I'm wondering what the commentaries will be. I guess you could go into the satanic panic, but
you could.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You could go into the satanic panic. You could probably go into LARPing as well, since that's what they're doing it.
Right. Oh, that's true.
Like,
they're in costume. Yeah, at the table.
Yeah, and actually go to a physical place to play this game.
Oh, right. That's when things start to break in poor.
Right. They actually play down in the steam tunnels. I remember.
Right.
I remember like the DM character like standing like off by himself, just like rolling dice and just like yelling down the hallway of what's happening, and I'm like, this is the. Nobody plays like this, right? What the fuck am I looking at? Right.
Yes, and the maze controller talks Robbie down at the end. It's a beautiful moment. Yeah. And he's got that like the it's weird. I guess it's worth it to watch that one moment when he snaps back into reality and does that high pitched Tom Hanks voice, like, "What's going on?" So that may be worth. If you
skip to the end,
if you like that Tom Hanks voice, you'll get a big dose of that right at the end. All right, so that's it for this week, and Chris has seemed to recover well from the mishap.
Set on fire. Yeah.
That was unfortunate, but I thought in the spirit of experiencing that trailer, just a note on that trailer, they really are trying hard to say, oh, you're having superhero fatigue, aren't you? And they do this like heroes, no more heroes, now thieves are cool. So
okay, I'm not going to watch it. I did read the Dicebreaker article, and it kind of says, or it said that it feels like they're trying to do Guardians of the Galaxy before Guardians of the Galaxy kind of became part of the expected thing with the MCU, right?
Right.
And it also said something that I kind of thought was going to be the case, where we've talked before. What would a D&D movie have to be?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to put mechanics in it, right? It's either going to be people playing the D&D game, or if you're going to do it completely in fantasy, you're going to have to do that nerd thing about remember this, this. We're going to name drop this person, and we're going to go to this and like, I don't know. I kind of feel like too much of that is like, it's like the nerd humor, where the humor seems to be nothing more than referencing this thing or this thing you're familiar with.
And whoever can like donkey laugh the loudest in the movie theater at the thing that they recognize.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Right.
Yes. And so, yeah, it seems like they're imitating what like Disney Marvel is definitely doing. Even the trailer's got the Whole Lot of Love Led Zeppelin song in the background. So it's like, okay, they did that already with the Thor movies and stuff. So it's like, and it's funny because there's a little bit of like there's references to Valhalla and stuff in the songs that they use for Thor. There's just like sex references in the song that they use for D&D. So I'm like, I'm not quite sure
I don't
what
know.
they're suggesting here, but sexy. Oh, and the it's almost worth it for the depiction of the I guess diarrhea vomiting dragon. I think that
okay. Shit's just inescapable, right? So I have seen the beginning of that, and I'm like, is that dragon puking out thing? Or just like some kind of like weird tar spewing dragon? Was the I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it is diarrhea. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be acid from a black dragon.
Maybe.
But it just piles out and
it looks like tar
and steams, or it's either the acid burn or it's just steaming hot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess they didn't explain
no, we will not. I won't be looking at it.
Yes. We refuse unless I get another wheelchair and roll it to the movie theater this time.
Yeah. I actually wonder how. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
March 2023.
It's a ways off.
It's a ways.
Yeah.
I wonder when and if it would even come to Japan.
That's true. I don't. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'm curious if there is any kind of demand for it, because we know like WotC is starting to take control of what they're doing in Japan. So maybe, and depends on that company. They're like Media One or whatever. They
E1
actually,
or something like
E1.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have like that. They have an entertainment focus. So if they see there's an audience for it here, maybe they would release it.
Maybe. It might do. I wonder how it would do here.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because the sense I get is D&D is not that popular here.
Right.
And it might just be Western fantasy movie over here, which may or may not be all that popular. I don't know.
And depends on the timing. Like spring is probably pretty safe because there's not a lot of competition.
It is. But I mean, Chris Pine is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
bankable.
bankable. Oh yeah, over here, like noticeable. Yeah, people know who he is. So
we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, there's a little bit of D&D movie trailer talk.
It's inescapable.
So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always. That's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'm still spewing out pixel art
Oh, nice
stuff. Yep.
Excellent.
So it's fun. I don't make any of the pixel art. I just kind of combine it.
Oh,
So yeah.
nice.
Anyway, how about you?
Very cool. So I draw my single panel gag cartoon every Monday night North American time. This week will be a All Godzilla special because I promised to show a book that I did, I think, in like second grade, where I did my first Godzilla story. So we're going to be showing early art in case anyone's interested. And I think actually the proto version of the domestic abuse cartoon strip is actually in one of those books. Yeah, so I didn't even realize I was drawing food at a very tender young age. But that's Abuse Cartoons on social media and both YouTube and Twitch. And then if you want to see the cartoon, it's gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you want to see what we're doing on Upturned Table, visit upturntable.com. Upturned Table on all social media. And we do this every week. I guess it's Thursday night, Friday? Yeah, Friday afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday afternoon, Thursday.
Yeah.
Friday morning.
And catch us on the weekly and become a patron, a weekling, as a matter of fact.
And get to play Blade Runner with Jeremy.
Yes, right.
Offer expires in 2 weeks.
Right. At the $4,000 patron level. The Patreon is patreon.com/upturntable. And different tiers to show us what you want to support. So the weekling is supporting our the weekly live stream and other things like our lore series and actual plays. So once I get in practice and find a VTT that I can actually use and record with, maybe we'll get some actual plays going.
I'm afraid to ask, what tier is strap Chris to a wooden wheelchair and force
them
to watch the D&D movie?
I haven't added that.
No,
I haven't added that yet.
Please make it high.
It'll be affordable. I'm not gonna.
No.
These trying economic times. I want you to be able to have access to Chris. Force Chris to watch the D&D movie might be a new good pledge level.
Yep. There you go. Yeah. Oh no, make it. We have to get to a certain number of subscribers.
Oh, there we
like
go.
That,
Yeah. So
okay.
a goal. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
So
Why did I
get
suggest
you,
that? God
friends.
damn it. Hell, you know
that
what?
might
You
be
want to do
happening.
it? make it while I watch all 4.
All right.
In order.
All right, I'm writing that down right now, and we have video
Yeah,
confirmation. All right, so look forward to that soon, and the marathon of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, Lord. Why did I suggest that?
Brutal. At least the CG will get better progressively.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so that's it for this week. We'll be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.
On that note, Book of Vile Darkness wasn't terrible.
I don't know if I can't remember. I get, except for the Jeremy Irons one, I think I get most of them confused. We'll be right back. So let's click over. So we'll do a quick 30 seconds to get this room tone out for the Patreon RSS feed listeners, which I, of course, didn't mention during the podcast. Never remember everything. Okay, so hang in there for just a sec. All right. Yeah, that air conditioning is really sounding worse. And I apologize on the RSS feed last week. Getting that fan out of there took some of the quality out of the voices. So we're a little tinny and a little digital on the podcast from last week. So apologies for that. It didn't sound too bad directly on the live stream. But if you've just got headphones in and you're only listening to it, it's a little rumbly. And I tried to fix that, but it was pretty embedded. So sorry about that. Oh, cool. It looks like we're talking movies in the chat. Nice. So, hey, Abyss and Kyle, good to see you guys again. Thanks for hanging in there. And Matt, as always. All right. And Spannergon the Avenger. As Matt wields Spannergon the Avenger, smiting all trolls and spammy comments. All right. Nice. So cool. Yeah. Matt's working on some Dungeon Crawl Classics stuff. That's excellent. All right. Yes. The last episode. My anger, but I'm glad. I'm glad at least we have got a full month on Astral. It should be a fun session. Astral's got some nice capabilities that I'm going to have to learn how to do that on other on other VTTs, but nice. All right. Yeah, getting our Blade Runner on. That should be fun. Yeah, I think they do a good job of we're not going to hit every single mechanic all at once, so it should be pretty fun. I'm curious how their the clues and kind of detective mechanics are going to work. Hopefully things will reveal themselves in an interesting way, because it seems like you could get some lucky rolls and kind of like end run the whole investigation. But you didn't hear that, Matt. All right. That's right. The Wayans, the death of the Wayans brother in D&D. So, and you heard it. Matt might, Chris might suffer a film festival of Dungeons and Dragons, which we definitely have to live stream. Yeah. There's so many. A lot of the indie developers. I mean, they even have Blaster. There's a magazine that's just collecting, like, the 4 kind of bigger indie skirmish game guys are posting like standalone games or expansions or rules for their new games. So it is even basically a periodical of skirmish game support. There's a lot of stuff out there, and it's fun because, you know, if you have a fantasy band or you have a sci-fi band, you can kind of just use those same models in between the different systems. So there's a lot of that's the nice flexibility, is you don't have to run out and get a set of everything. The only problem with some of the games is you do need monsters or NPCs, so you do need to do some specific either like printing or buying of some civilian models or some monsters and things. All right. Nice. Yeah, the dialogue in the trailer was pretty awful, and the winking. Yeah, it seems like they're going to do that whole thing, the winking at the audience. And that's too bad that style is so popular. The whole Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel thing, playing a bunch of old tunes, getting people some money on on iTunes, some old artists, some royalties on iTunes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're really going for. And it's funny. This trailer is, the movie's still so far out. I wonder if they're going to switch up, based on the reaction to this. I wonder if they're going to switch up their marketing approach to try to get everybody in there, because this did seem to have a lot of fan service kind of stuff. Yeah, more Horus Heresy minis. So Kyle's just said, someone gave me a box of Raptors, and I kind of want to get the Horus Heresy box and chaos them up. Oh, nice. Yeah, that stupid Horus Heresy box is tempting, but it's so brutally expensive here. I probably would do better financially to like piece it together through eBay, like people that are breaking stuff up. Because the whole, and I was going to do a rant about this when it just came out, but the whole release, if you wanted everything in Japan that they were releasing for that set, it was almost $1,000. The yen's pretty weak, so not quite $1,000, maybe like $850, $900, but everything was $900. That means the books of the Loyalist and Traitor, the core book, that comes in the set, and then the extra tanks and stuff that they did. All of that stuff was close to $1,000 in Japan. So that was ridiculous, and that really I wanted to really set off on a, like, you could buy a 3D printer, you could buy endless models, you could buy every rule set for every other game in existence. Like there was the list of what you can get for almost $1,000 in miniature wargaming that's not Games Workshop is pretty impressive. Kroll RPG. Kyle said, so I picked up a bootleg Kroll RPG from a Twitter dude. It's one of the coolest games I have. Wow. Yeah, Kroll like suggested so much in that, and like the little bit of world building that they suggested a lot. Like they gave like the Cyclops some, backstory and mythology and things, and they really did do some interesting things in that movie. And so that did like stick. And what was it? There was one cable channel when I lived in Chicago. There was one of the like lower tier movie channels on cable that every time I turned it on, every time my girlfriend asked, "What are you watching?" I looked at it for a few minutes and I said, "Kroll." Like it happened like at least a dozen times. Like Kroll was on constantly. It must have been something they got a good deal on because they just like filled in all their programming holes with Kroll. So every time I had the TV on and I wasn't really paying attention to it, like what's on TV, it was always Kroll. So that's my memory of Kroll. That's very funny that they would, yeah. But there's definitely stuff there, and I think somebody that has that like the nostalgia and that movie deeply rooted, there's places to go, especially with that. Wasn't the castle moved and things like there were some really cool cool things that would make for a fun campaign. Nice. So Abyss says, I'm always playing niche stuff, but I am not in any circles, so discoverability is almost non-existent to me. Yeah, that is tough. Because we were talking about, one of the big sources of indie RPGs has zero discoverability. Like their search is terrible. You basically have to know who to follow on Twitter and get recommendations from people. Like, just have to do the right Twitter follows to get into people talking about good stuff that's getting released. So I love a good indie, but I'll play anything with a good GM. No pressure, Jeremy. Yeah, right. A good GM. Well, it would be nice to have a good GM, wouldn't it? All right. Hodog. Ultra indie folks. Yes, pressure is good. Yes. Matt said, I love Dune, but I'm meh about playing in that world. Yeah, and I'm not sure what the license was that Modifius had, but like Chris said, they're having trouble getting off of Arrakis. I mean, there's more to that world, and they are pretty much stuck within the confines of the first book and, the first movie almost. So it's a... so Abyss said... I'll put the haunted stuff in my favorites, so remember to buy them. The haunted. Oh, nice. And Abyss said, it's a novel about a Scientology orgy. Yeah, I'm blanking on the last Dune book. Not Foundation. I'm thinking Fountainhead. I've got Fountainhead in my head. But yeah, I guess I haven't gotten there, but I know a bit of the story. I've like read synopses of the storyline, and it does sound pretty crazy because there was like a splinter group of the Bene Gesserit, like basically like Eldari and Drukhari or Dark Elves, elves and Dark Elves. So they come back and clash in the far, far future. So that has to be. Yeah, that's a good point, Abyss. Yeah, we're seeing our favorite properties. Finally, the money is there, the technology is there, the platforms are there to be able to produce these series, and then you see Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, and just, gets worse and worse. It makes you regret that people are capable, that there's the budgets and capability to do this. And Kyle says, I appreciate that Elric is unfilmable. Yeah, that's true. That would be really... a few years back, though, was that a comic? Somebody was talking about the rights for Elric. We talked about that a bit ago. They had been bouncing around, but it's probably going to get stuck in pre-production hell because... and especially as we see more fantasy stuff just not do well on streaming platforms, because it sounds like from people that I've watched talk about pitching for Netflix and stuff now, Netflix is just basically, if you've never done anything for them, they're real suspicious. If you have done something for them before, they look at your numbers, and their decision of greenlighting whatever you're pitching them is just based on your previous success or your previous numbers. So they have access to those numbers, which they don't share. So yeah, that's gonna kind of create an ugly, vicious cycle that I think is gonna make a lot of bad stuff. Nice, Matt had Mazes and Monsters on VHS. It's so bad, it's good. Seth, okay, yeah. Seth did a lot of writing for Call of Cthulhu, right? I think he's pretty involved in Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, that was yeah. I occasionally watch his stuff. He's got interesting opinions. I mean, some of his approach on stuff is interesting. I just can't say his last name easily. Nice. Abyss. Oh, the Joe Abercrombie, The First Law and Age of Madness. Nice. I have the blade itself on deck to read. Matt's reading the 3-body problem. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I watched the trailer. If you haven't yet, Matt, look up the trailer for the Chinese. So already China has produced a 3-body problem TV series. And actually all the people are Chinese. Oh, hey, Abyss, thank you. Abyss is now a member. Oh, much appreciated. Thanks. Yes, once the D&D movie box set comes out, Chris is playing it, and we'll force Chris to play as Chris Pine, not any of the female characters, just so it's maximally miserable. And Chris has to wink at the camera, and that would be to really lean into that performance at the table would be brutal. Oh, but the trailer, the CG is like weird Chinesey. It works okay, but it's definitely Chinese CG. But the nice thing about it is all the characters are Chinese, and it's set in China. The idiots, the Game of Thrones idiots, the one that they're doing for Netflix, they're just casting like rando. I think there's literally one Asian actor in it. So I think we talked about that before, that it seems like they're really gonna screw that up by taking it out of China. Nice. Yeah, I haven't read any Joe Abercrombie. I gotta get on that. I'm definitely behind. Yeah, the Black Dragon Acid. Oh, so Matt said the Black Dragon Acid Breath King of the ripped off Manibene dragons. Oh, by having liquid fall off, and then sets them on fire. Oh, I see. Donate to make Chris play that box set. Thank you, dedicated follower Abyss. We appreciate that. I'll let Chris know as well. Very cool. Hey K5, how's it going? Sorry, I'm just finally got down to where you came in. Nice. Yes, we'll have to do. Yeah, I want to figure out a way to do that, because I saw some people on one of the other platforms. They were basically doing movie commentary, and they put the movie up and talked over it. And I guess they didn't have the audio, but on other platforms, maybe they're less sensitive than YouTube, so you can actually enjoy like, watching a movie and talking over it. So we'll have to figure out a way to do that, or at least give everybody a link. If we do a live stream, give everybody a link so they can kind of jump on and have a time code or something running, so that you know where we are in the movie, even though you can't see it. And we can't, the audio is the thing they're going to catch us on all the time. Hey, Miguel, how's it going? Owlbears are silly monsters until one disembowels half the party. Oh, yeah, that's right. They had the owlbear scene in the trailer. And, of course, the little druid girl. So there's going to be all kinds of that. Oh yeah, Miguel, you're right. Yeah, it was September, right? Early September, we got some powerful rings headed our way. That's gonna be brutal. And the thing is, and what a lot of the YouTubers that are like really hitting a lot of that stuff hard, they're running into is it's so bad it's not even making good content. Like, it's not so bad it's good. It's just depressing. It's just like everything is like this CW level writing, and just it's really weak stuff, and just various levels of production design is all we're getting. But so people that are trying to do content on some of the garbage that's coming out, there's just not much to talk about. It's just dazed and dazing and confusing. Yeah, very crazy. Nice. Uh-oh, yes, it does show. It's now you're very publicly a member, Abyss. I apologize. It's a it's a thing you can't hide now. You've got the Mishima logo next to your name. I'll know right away. Yeah, I should do I should do the highest level. It wouldn't be functional. They would have no mechanical abilities, but the highest level should be a golden wrench for membership. K5 is getting up there. I think K5 is like 7 or 8 months. Yeah, K5 is already. Oh, that might be the highest one because it was just all the corpse. So K5 might be at the highest level of capital right now in the Warzone Mutant Chronicles hierarchy. My personal hierarchy. All right. Yeah, Rich Evans watching Star Trek or Star Wars, watching them suffer. Yeah, that might be fun. I mean, if we can get, and if we're drinking and get Chris. Yeah, so if we wore headphones, then we wouldn't get hit for the audio, and then we can just put it on a big screen and just point a camera at us and have a fun live stream. Yeah, we should give that a shot. That would be good. Nice. Yeah, good to see you, K5. It's always nice to have you in the chat. Matt said the Chinese Cultural Revolution is critical to the story, and they are barely carrying. Yeah. That's so weird that they're barely doing Chinese actors. I mean, what are they thinking? Like, what are they actually? How are they going to change that setting? And it's really weird. I mean, those guys are so incompetent, and they're such tools. I don't know what they're gonna actually focus on in that story as interesting. Probably just like want to dump a lot of money into the CG of the virtual world. And yeah, I don't know. So Miguel says, let's say you race swap character X from the established franchise. At least you had a sense of a race swap. At the sense of a race swap, everybody's the same. That's true. If you're gonna just swap everybody out. Yeah, but it changes the weird context. And I don't know. I guess you could do, if you did Soviet-controlled, like Iron Curtain, Eastern Europe, maybe there's some similarities, but you're doing too much work. Like it's already there. It's already amazing, and it's already there. So I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be weird. And I wonder if it's... because they're just announcing casting, so I don't even think they're anywhere near production. So yeah, we'll see. 7 months in a few days. Wow, thank you so much, K5. That's very cool. Yeah, right. Race swapping the houses in in Dune would be fun. You could make it very, very racial and very. Oh man. Oh. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there definitely are a few characters that they could mess with that would set the internet, the intertubes ablaze. Yeah, it's funny what they're doing. So yeah, and especially that Rings show. It's looking very odd. Yeah, I don't know. So like I thought that some of the race and gender swapped characters in Dune, because I've been rewatched Dune just a little bit ago, the recent one, the Denis Villeneuve Dune, and I really think the Dr. Kynes works well because of how they cast Zendaya, mixed race Zendaya, and so I thought some of those choices worked well. Like there was reasons for doing it, like there was like kind of dynamics and context for doing it, but most of the time it's just done to like vary it up, just to get some approval. But there wasn't anything in Dune that stood out as like frustrating or shocking. It was like having the traitor having Yui be Chinese was a little rough. The Chinese traitor was a little, like, it just felt a little painful. But they didn't overemphasize that or anything. A traitorous Chinese actor is not the best. Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they immediately fired a Tolkien scholar, and yeah, now people that are calling themselves Tolkien scholars are pretty brutal. And somebody was even saying, I think I'm one of the more ranty videos though, that the survivors, the Tolkien estate kind of survivors are, very woke Brits and are willing to just roll with whatever. So we're going to see a lot of, maybe a lot of distortion of Middle Earth. Who knows? Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, Ciri in the Witcher series. That's right. They're doing that with Death, though, in Sandman, aren't they? I guess, that's not... I don't think there's anything... I'm trying to think. Just because those characters are so allegorical or, like, they're more symbols, I don't think race... And especially the way they're depicted in the comics, I don't think race is such a big thing. But I think they're race-swapping Death in Sandman. Who knows? Yeah, that's the thing that they keep doing. And prequel movies keep making that mistake, like they did with Prometheus and the other Alien Covenant. Like the technology, they get the technology wrong. Like in the past, technology was so good, and there's not like an explanation for why did things get shitty, into the future. Everything has to have that 40K, like war against the machines, death of technology thing, because they do that too often. And so the same thing with Lord of the Rings. It's like, okay, you're going to show, a more ethnically diverse race of hobbits that was genocided because there's only the British-looking ones, that we've seen later on. But Amazon does have the rights to The Hobbit now. That was I saw that they got the rights, so they could turn The Hobbit into a series and continue with their creative casting. So we'll see about that. That could go really, really wrong. Oh man. Wow. All right, let me see here. Oh, I'm totally missing. Oh, wait, I should do it. This tablet, like, it gets to a point where it just, like, dies out. Let me get in. There we go. Sorry. Oh, that's brutal. There we go. So they have to do it in a way that makes sense. Yeah. Diversity in large fantasy city makes sense. Yeah. But in some isolated. Yeah, it does. That's a really cool effect. And like, Blade Runner and stuff, having like the crazy, like, racial diversity of these like collapsing cities is so cool because it's so chaotic, and it feels very, oh, there we go. It feels very authentic to far future, but when they're doing these like weird fantasy settings, it's odd because like some of the decisions were made kind of intentionally. So yeah, it's just odd. Yeah, and when they're doing it just for points, that's the thing that's so weird. Yes. The Hobbit. Yeah, right. The not Hobbit narrator of the First Age, Miguel is saying. Yeah. It's very yeah, it's like it didn't, and it seems like they're screwing up a lot of stuff chronologically, because somebody was pointing out that people weren't even born yet in scene if this was supposed to be taking place at the time or the events that they seem to be indicating, because all we have is trailers so far for Rings, is that there are people that aren't even born yet that are like meeting with and discussing things with characters, because you've got that elf lifespan to deal with. So I don't know. It's brutal. Not Hobbit narratives, but it's got to be cute. It's got to bring everybody in. Oh, and in that latest thing that they released, it looks like the Harfoots are having a hell of a time with their gelatin feet. Like they're all walking bad. There's a scene of them out in the, and I never noticed that in the Peter Jackson movies. So maybe they changed the technology or whatever. Maybe they have like total slip-on feet or something. But they're walking all very funny in the little bit of trailer that they show. So Abyss says, I see no real issue with different dwarves or elves or hobbits because I am human and equal opportunist against all lesser races. Yes, make Mordor great again. I fell right into that abyss. Yes. Vote for your local evil wizard today. Yeah. Are you just trying to make us cheer for Sauron? Is that what this is all about? Or Mordred? Or make Mordor great again. That's funny. Yeah, dwarves. Yeah, dwarves make a ton of sense. They're literally made from earth. So suppose, yeah, but that's when you've got to be careful too, because that's the insult, race-based insult is all mud and dirt reference in Japanese. So it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense in mythology, but I think in some cultures and stuff, you're getting close to kind of how they supposedly Isildur is going to appear. Yes, that's right. Nice. Leaf lover, yeah, abyss. Point that out on the map. Oh my god. Yeah, so we'll see, and hopefully there's something interesting to get out of. I was really turned off by what they did with Wheel of Time, aging up the characters and like doing all this like weird romance and stuff. I mean, it really felt YA, and that was the thing I think they were trying to get rid of. Like the characters are like 12. They're the characters are very young in the books, and they aged them up, and then they gave them families and sexual relationships and stuff, and it made it a little bit more weird and complicated. So yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. They actually did. It seemed like they did exactly what they didn't want to do, and I heard so much of was it Brandon Sanderson, I guess, was an advisor on that, and was like, yeah, this is your thing, sounds good. So yeah, I was kind of going all in. What's going on? Leaf lover, dandelion eater. Man, you guys are courting the the wrath of the wrench. A regular tree hugger. All right. Nice. Matt was saying I like Forbidden Land elves. Oh yeah. They alter their appearance over time and make themselves green if they want to. Yeah, they did. Forbidden Lands had some nice takes on the. I like the duality between like goblins. So yeah, the halflings or goblins, like you're kind of born one or the other, and if you're born a goblin, the halflings kind of get rid of you, and they're kind of debaucherous. Like halflings aren't these sweet country folk. They are, actually quite brutal. Miguel's a human supremacist, at least in D&D. Well, that was the thing too. And I can't believe we keep getting away from that. Like when you're talking about the fantasy races, and I think Warhammer Fantasy like specifically said this. Like there was some text in one of the earlier editions of fantasy that said, we are humans standing against monsters. And that's our goodness. Like that's what we're doing. And so people that are humans that are playing that game, they can't identify with that. That like the things that brings us together, that puts us on the same side, that puts us on the side of good, is we're trying to defend humanity. And people are like, that's racist. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's Spanagon the Avenger. Yeah, it's but that should be the default, and that's when all the weird D&D arguments and stuff. But it's it's like they're conflating a lot of like otherness and marginalized. They're trying to stuff they're learning in university. They're trying to plug into their their fantasy tabletop games, and that's what we get. Oh man, or demi-humans. That's right. Yeah, old school D&D. Abysses had the name for other races, right? Yeah. Yes, right. Yeah, demi-humans. That's right. Yes, not being human. Yeah, that is. That's funny. That is the default. And just for flavor, you can play other races, but if you're not. And we talked about that a long time ago in the kind of race debate. If we're talking like race or species, so yeah. And then because of the suggestion, like half elves, half orcs, suggest that it's racial differences and they're all the same species, so it is racism. Brutal. All right. Well, yeah. So I hope Chris doesn't mind these ambushes regularly. I gave there was no warning on that on my little red dragon speech, so I hope that worked out okay. Oh, so the Dungeon Crawl Classics take on why humans can be different classes than elves and dwarves and halflings are just their race. It's because it's all from a human point of view. Humans to human, an elf is an elf. Yeah, right. And humans to humans, an elf is an elf. Nice. Oh, and actually, Miguel said, actually, Shadowrun 2nd Edition had an NPC saying mostly the same. White man versus black man. Whoa, what the hell? Are you thinking that's the wrong fight? Yeah, we have trolls walking in. Whoa. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know how they did the, that was the weird thing. What was the Bright, that series, that Will Smith series on Netflix? That was really weird when they tried to do fantasy races, like corresponding like literally to LA racial groups. That was pretty brutal. The fantasy race thing I don't think is ever going to go away. And even, I don't think it'll make it more marketable or maybe get it under the radar of certain people, but just changing the word race, I don't think is going to, changing to heritage or clan or kin. Bright sucked. Yeah, Bright really sucked. I can't believe that they did that. I don't know. I don't think they actually got the rights, for any kind of Shadowrun. It was like the Shadowrun races, like the fantasy races in a modern setting. But that was just bizarre. I don't know what they were thinking with that. It was really weird. Very unexpected, and some nasty looking orc makeup too. Orc cops. There was supposed to be, I guess that it didn't do well or wasn't well received, because I thought there was supposed to be a sequel to that they talked about right after it was released, because it was Will Smith, and this is back before smacky Will Smith was part of the picture. Yeah, he got he got a lot of projects dropped like right after that. His little Oscar shenanigans. So Abyss says, it's very interesting when you actually get down deep in it, because modern D&D avoids racism at all costs, but how could there not be when half of the races, half races and so many other races? Yeah, I mean, I think that tension is interesting, and like the elves and dwarves hating each other. I think that's an important part of fantasy, like the grudges. I love that. Old world Warhammer, really leaned into that with dwarves and the Book of Grudges, and dwarves never forget, and they hold these grudges through generations, and they want revenge for all of these slights. Anyhow. Matt said, it's like being assaulted with a club made of metaphors. Yeah. Ugh. Right. The weather. Yeah, how is the weather with everybody? Wherever you are. Yeah, the air is moving here. When it gets still, the humid weather in Japan's summer is brutal because you can't breathe. But luckily, we're getting some kind of weird leftover from the rainy season. So it's raining at night, making it extra humid during the day, but the wind is moving. So there's the weather report from from Japan, which I think we started the stream with. And yeah, thank you. So I got to make sure that I do this, because if you're listening to this, you're either listening to it live and you're in chat. So thank you, everybody that's doing that, all of the members that are doing that. And thank you to all the patrons if you're listening to this on the Patreon RSS feed. Thanks so much for your support. It makes this completely possible. And never hesitate to get in touch with us on Patreon and let us know what you like and what you don't want to see any more of. Just kind of give us some direction and inspiration, because we want this to be as comfortable and 107 and fun a place to be as anywhere, just to share in our enthusiasm for the hobby. Yeah, the Book of Grudges is an awesome concept. Oh, Matt's got 107, so that's probably like 40 something. That's brutal. 40 something Celsius. I'm already getting like, I can't. I remember, I remember the numbers, but I can't feel them anymore. I'm just getting so programmed with Japanese Celsius, and it's so funny that 1 degree Celsius, makes such a huge difference. And literally, between the city and where I live, kind of outside the city, you get like a 5 degree temperature difference sometimes, and that's amazing in the summer, and it's terrible in the winter because it's like hovering above freezing. Yeah, deserty temperatures. Yeah, so it's drier, right? So yeah, I don't want to dox Matt, but drier. Heat, which is more, it just rips all the moisture out of your head, but it's more tolerable than humidity. So that, yeah, like 107 in Florida would be brutal. You'd just be asphyxiating in the wet, hot air. All right. So yeah, I hope we'll have a good session tomorrow for Blade Runner, and Matt will give an honest report and talk about how good or bad it was. The pressure is on, but yeah, it should be I'm really interested to know how this system is going to work. It seems to be okay, and like I said, after getting through the core book, there's a lot of bad writing in there, a lot of like really mediocre writing. Like I think they were kind of going in some places, like they're kind of going for a film noir, kind of like edgy, like Sam Spade or kind of Dashiell Hammett kind of stuff. But yeah, it falls a little flat, and the timelines of Blade Runner are odd as well. I think it's better than Alien, but the 2 movies that they're kind of sorting out stuff in between is a little bit odd. And so, Matt, we're going to have a have a quick talk to the replicant player about how we want to progress. But it could be fun. Oh no, what am I missing? Oh, sorry. Oh, so I need to talk to the players. So what I wanted to do is I was going to record the VTT. So I don't think we're going to do video cameras. I was going to record the VTT and our audio, and then just edit, because there might be a lot of fussing around with technical issues on the tabletop and rules checks and stuff. So I want to be able to cut all of that out. We won't live stream this first session, but I will record it, and if I get approval from the players, we'll release an edited version of it so you guys can see how the first thing went. So yeah, I'll try to record it in some way, but I don't think we'll do. I don't have the setup for like little windows and overlays or anything yet. But but visually it'll be interesting. There'll be some stuff to look at because I've got all the assets in there. The foul mouth, the detective. You're gonna have to allow your own profanity with your wrench online. Yeah, but I think it's okay because we're gonna do Discord audio and then Astral for the tabletop. So I'll record the tabletop. Probably in OBS, and then there's a bot that records audio in Discord. So we should have, and it's multiple tracks too. So I can kind of balance out everyone's mics and get us all at a good level. Nice. Yes. Oh man. So yeah. So we'll report back next week how it went, and yeah, glad we finally got it organized. All right. So, yeah, everybody take care. We'll wrap things up. And thanks again to all the patrons and members. Thank you, members in chat. And welcome, Abyss, who doesn't want any recognition for becoming a member. Nice. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's right. We'll have to... I'll do a counter in the corner for every profanity. And then Matt will have to roll against something. 0.5 chin yen, 0.05 chin yen for every profanity. It's going to get expensive. You may have to hawk your spinner to pay that off. But Matt's going to be probably the most flushed of all the characters, though. I don't know. I think it's going to be a pretty profane session. All right. So take care, everyone, and we'll do this again next week. Thanks for hanging in the chat, and thanks for supporting the stream and the site and everything we do on Patreon. So, and anyone that is still around and is curious, that join button will allow you to become a member, and you can have access to little emojis and hang in the chat. So thanks so much, and take care, everyone. See you again next time. Goodbye.